Hello and welcome to my debrief of Everest the Rock.
Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town tonight.
This is Rock Nation. Pledge your allegiance.
Everest the Rock was an idea I came up with. Obviously Everesting is quite common within the cycling community now. Everesting the Rock has never been done before. It all started back 2 years ago when I did my first ever triathlon. I did it obviously for Macmillan Cancer Support. I completed the 70.3 Marbella, which I set myself a target of £1,000, which I originally thought was massive. Then I managed to complete that. I moved on then to challenge myself to complete a full Ironman, which I did in Barcelona in October of the same year, 2 years ago. Barcelona, I did £2,000 fundraising goal, double the distance, double the money, which I again thought was pretty crazy. But yeah, managed to get that, smashed that target as well. So I was actually on about £4,000 between the two, so I got an extra £1,000 between Marbella and Barcelona Ironmans, which then leads me on to why I chose £6,000 for Macmillan Cancer Support for Everest the Rock to get me over that £10,000 mark. They work mostly on donations, and £10,000 is obviously loads of money. Why Everest? Basically, I really like the idea of organising my own event. I really like the idea of doing something local. I really like the idea of doing something that had never been done before. So yeah, that's why Everest. Just something local, something organised myself, give me the experience of organising a sporting event, not just taking part in one, but organising the media behind it. I wanted this one to be a lot more money from sponsors and trying to approach companies and get experience myself through doing that. Also, I leave Gibraltar in December. I go on draft back to the UK. So I figured what better way to say goodbye to the Rock. I've been talking about this for quite a long time between like my close-knit friends and cyclists and things, and pinging ideas off on how it would actually work and if it was even possible, how long it would take and things like that. But then also really liked the idea of having a really, really big goal and having to process that in my head and break it down into lots of little bits. I really like the idea of the feeling of kind of like overcoming and it getting dark, because you get a little bit of that in the Ironman. It gets dark at maybe 10, 11 at night and you're done by 1 in the morning, but not a full whack of having to power through the night. I've never done a sporting event where I've had to go through the night completely. So yeah, that's the main reasons why I wanted to do that. Just the feeling of overcoming and, you know, having that time on your own in the middle of the night to really test your own head, to really test your own commitment to it, your own perseverance. And just, I've heard it on quite a few podcasts, and it's just when things get really tough, like an Everest or whatever it is, can I do one more? Like, you know, break it down into not can I complete this Everest, not can I do 18 reps of the Rock, not can I run a marathon, but can I take one more step? Can I do one more rep? Can I turn the pedals one more time? And if the answer's still yes, ultimately you can keep going and chipping away at the massive goal, which in this case was obviously Everesting the Rock. So I started trying to put the feelers out about this and get the main bulk of fundraising done really quite early, or what I thought was early. In hindsight, lessons learned for next time, I will do it significantly earlier, probably out to a year as opposed to 3 months is what I gave myself this time. And from that, I really got absolutely no positive replies until I came across Seekers Gibraltar, who sent me a very kind message back and agreed to meet and to discuss what we could do. We sat down and had a chat about everything I could do for her and everything she could do for me. And she was actually even more optimistic than I was. She looked at £6,000 as absolutely nothing. She guaranteed me on the spot £500 donation from Seekers Gibraltar, which I was absolutely blown away by, at £500 on my own. I came out of there, made a few phone calls straight away, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe the conversation I've just had. To that, somebody would think that £6,000 is just no money at all. But anyway, guaranteed £500 in the bank at that point. I think we're only at about £1,000 at the point where I had that meeting with her. But yeah, that's fundraising. On to the setup of the event. So I had 3 bikes there. I had my road bike, gravel bike and mountain bike. The thinking behind that was I wanted to have obviously backups. I didn't want one bike to break, which ultimately I knew it would, and then for me to be left like screwed, either trying to fix a bike or just not finishing the Everest, and which wasn't an option for me. As soon as I get a pound in that Just Given, I am completing that event, or I'll die doing it trying. And I like being the guy that talks about something, plans something, and delivers on something. So I said I wanted to do 6 on the road bike. At the end of that, the bottom bracket was creaking away like no tomorrow. The brake pads were gone. I could have fixed it, but it was just pushing my heart rate too high to be on that bike for much longer. The gear ratio wasn't big enough. I replaced the front sprocket to a smaller one, but I could have done more on the back end, but it's all just money. So yeah, made the decision. I was going to do 6 on that at least. The most I'd done in training was 3 on the road bike in heart rate zone 2. None of which was in heart rate zone 2 on the day for the first 6. It was all quite spiked. I was hitting 180 on some of the steep parts. It really wasn't ideal. And it came to a point where I either had to fix a bike and stop for ages, or jump on the gravel bike. And I took the decision to jump on the gravel bike because I'd done the 6 and it was digging me in a hole of pain for just going too high over heart rate and too high on the power. So yeah, jumped on the gravel bike. Gravel bike was perfect, just had brand new brakes put on that. They bedded themselves in the first rep. The front brake needed bled a little bit more, which I'll touch on in a minute. But everything was perfect on the gravel bike apart from that. But at rep number 10, I believe, first rep on my own, got to the top in the dark, light died. That was the first issue. Then on the way down, because the front brake needed bled, the lever was hitting onto the handlebars because the brake pads had worn down just that little bit too much. So yeah, that was a very interesting descent. Got to the bottom of that, charged the light, put the power bank in the bar bag, which was always the plan anyway. I just didn't think it would need to be on that quick. And then got the light back, put new brake pads in, and it was good to go then for the rest of the Everesting, I think. On to the team. The team was absolutely fantastic. I had Harry, Penny, Lara, Chippy and Swifty. Chippy pulled an all-nighter, which was awesome. I had Lara pulling late nights every night for the week up until, because we had a bake sale. Penny came over and helped bake on the Friday before the event, plus then they all took turns at the bake sale. They were all up and down over and over again. I think Swifty and Chippy got, like, I wouldn't even like to put a number on the amount of steps he put in. They walked the rep backwards twice, I think, getting loads of footage from me so I could ultimately make this video. Harry and Penny did a media lap with me beforehand, plus they came out on their motorbikes. They came and did a rep with me on that, plus then Harry cycled 2 reps, Chippy cycled 2 reps. I think they were up, Lara was up and down in the cable car a couple of times, delivering flyers and stuff to the top of the rock. They were all in and out to the aid station. I lost track of where everybody was, but I wasn't alone for a single rep in the aid station, and then I did 1 rep on my own, which I couldn't, obviously I'm counting when people are driving up the rocks and stuff like that, but yeah, I cycled 1 rep completely on my own, and that was completely by choice. Chippy wanted to drive up, but I said, look, I just want to plug in, listen to a bit of music, switch off, and just enjoy, like, get 1 rep. I ultimately at that point thought it was going to be quite a few reps on my own, but then I think 4 in the morning one of the local cyclists came and joined me, which takes me nicely on to the amount of support from local cyclists. I had a triathlete join me for 2 reps. I had another cyclist join me for a quarter of a rep. I had one of the guys I work with join me for 2 reps. I had Harry join me for 2 reps. I had Chippy join me for 2 reps. I had one of the local cyclists join me for 6 reps. Another guy joined me for 1. Like, so quite a lot of people drove up halfway and just cheered me on. It was awesome, like absolutely awesome. The amount of local support was just like unbelievable. And then on to the support from the nature reserve itself. From day 1, when I told them my plan, they've been absolutely like fantastic. They have opened the rock overnight, which they don't do all the time. Yeah, I can't believe the amount of support I've had from everybody. Yeah, it's been pretty unbelievable, really. I thought I would be lonely. I thought I would be bored. I thought I knew I could keep my heart rate low, but I thought I would be just so in my own head and like fed up with listening to music. I get it on training rides. I hate it. Like if you do a 4 or 5 hour ride on your own, I'm bored. Like I'm been through 2 or 3 different playlists. I do enough driving, enough cycling to be like I could tell you every next song on my playlist. Like, but the fact I listen to music on 1 out of 18 reps, like absolutely just blows me away. So yeah, that was kind of like the loneliness that never really transpired into anything. I was expecting it, I was ready for it, I was like ready with David Goggins kind of podcast ready to hype me up and get me through those tough times, but they never came. Then sunrise. So the rep before sunrise I was with a local cyclist. He turned up at 4 in the morning. The first rep I was kind of chatty, second rep I was like falling asleep. I don't think I said much to him at all in the second rep, to the point where I was like, are you, like I thought he was done. I thought that was going to be 2 reps, I'm out, catching a bit, thanks, nice to meet you, that kind of thing. But no, he hung around for probably about 30 minutes at the bottom of the rock, waiting for me to sort my life out, get changed, try and trick myself into like thinking I'd slept. I like sat down for a minute, had a coffee, then brushed my teeth. Then before that I ate loads. Like I was just trying to trick myself into thinking, whoa, I'm back, I'm good to go. But yeah, didn't really say a word to him, which I kind of feel a little bit bad for. But he hung around, absolute legend, I can't believe it. And yeah, sunrise came. It was getting light on that rep after that really bad one. We chatted the whole way up, it was really nice. And yeah, when I got down off of that rep, I think I had 4 to go. I was with that guy, I was feeling better, the sun was coming up, I was like, we have done this, like it is done. Well, there's nothing that could happen now. Even if I have to jump on the mountain bike, even if I have to walk up here backwards with cleats on, I'm finishing this Everest, which was a really, really nice feeling to know that like I've got it. That guy stuck around and did 6, I think, in total. Yeah, absolutely awesome guy. Only reason he didn't do it was because his bike packed it in. Like, the rock is brutal, and I said from the start, this is going to be me against the rock, trying to beat the mechanicals, beat the rock, get up and down, get my heart rate low enough, and yeah, 1-0 me. We beat the rock. But then after that one rep to go, I had Harry and Chippy up with me. We swapped out the power bank to a speaker in the bar bag. We were blaring tunes, we were just getting it done. Last rep, it was getting really busy at that point. We were battling all the taxis, trying to squeeze past the taxis. It's all single track, and you've got these massive like 7-seater taxis bringing tourists up and stopping everywhere, and it is absolutely carnage up there in the middle of the day. I've got like pins and needles in all my fingers, and my forearms are pretty pumped from just squeezing those brakes so much on the way down. On the top of the reps, during the days, we had like Macmillan t-shirts. We had these t-shirts. I had shaker donations tins. All the tour guides at this point knew what was going on. I felt like I was in the Tour de France quite a lot of the time, because I had like the classic 2 rows of people each side just clapping and cheering, and like I did genuinely feel like I was in the Tour de France. It was like a childhood dream of mine came true, and I was there on my own, just doing an Everesting, which blew me away a little bit as well. It's so nice to see people get behind it, and even just people that don't know what's going on, they just cheer you on anyway, because it's such a brutal climb. They're just like, whoa, well done for one, and like everybody that did one got a well done for one off somebody. But honestly, the amount of people that just come out and was just cheering us on was phenomenal. So yeah, event finish, went up to the Great Siege tunnels. The guys there, they had the cameras out and that, and we were just counting down the meters to go, and we did it. We stopped, we pressed stop, uploaded it, double checked the height of Everest, double checked that I'd met it, and we celebrated. We went down, had an ice cream, got ourselves off the rock, got the team down from the top of the rock. We had a beer in the aid station, and yeah, we celebrated. At this point, I was pretty blown away by the donations. We'd gone from 50% of the donations, so we're at £3,000, to I think we're on about 90% by the time of the event had actually finished. And I was scrolling through, and I was looking at my emails, and I was like absolutely blown away by the amount of donations, but also the size of donations. Like, there's a lot of people that were given like £100 or £50, which I was pretty blown away by. Like a massive thank you to every single person that donated. It's unbelievably, it's absolutely unbelievable, really. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody that donated. It makes such a big difference to Macmillan. I want to touch on quickly as well the reason why. Obviously, if you've seen any of the media surrounding this event, you've probably seen the reason why. It was one of the most popular ones. When I was just 20 years old, my mum passed away with cancer. By the time we kind of diagnosed it and figured out what was going on, it was kind of too late. It was everywhere. She went through a relatively short course of chemotherapy, not really to any effect from my understanding. I think she tried to protect us a little bit by not telling us the full ins and outs of it, and I was probably naive to a point, partly because of age, partly denial and not wanting the inevitable to happen. But unfortunately, she lost her battle with cancer when I was 20 years old, and yeah, that's the reason why. I couldn't have done this event without that reason why. Everybody has their own motivations and their own things going on, but I like to do something to give back to the people that helped me and my family, and Macmillan are fantastic. They are on call, they have call centres, they send nurses out, they have so much facilities to help people. Thankfully they're quite a big charity now, but they only survive through people like me doing stupid stuff like this. And thankfully for this event, Everest the Rock, people got behind it. The local news got behind it. Obviously the donations got behind it. I'd love to thank every single one of you individually, but yeah, it's a mammoth task. So genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for supporting me. It took me 27.5 hours with no sleep and no real stopping for decent breaks. I cycled 129 miles. I burned in excess of 12,000 calories, I believe. But obviously, yeah, pretty tough day out. And a massive thank you as well to Seekers for believing in me and believing in my vision, and obviously Sovereign for coming on board in the end as well. And yeah, thank you so much. £10,000 in total from me. I have absolutely no idea where I'm going to go from here next. I believe that if you ask people for money, you should be doing something pretty difficult that people look at and say, I can't do that. And if you want people's money, I think you should do something difficult. I picked something difficult, it's done. The next thing will be even more difficult, I can promise you that much. I, personally, am interested in the limits of the human body, what I can do personally. I've gone from the embarrassment of failing my fitness test back on my last ship to becoming an Ironman, racing triathlon, being part of the Navy triathlon team, and then ultimately completing a 24-hour plus Everest into the rocks. So if I can do that in the space of 3 years, I challenge every single one of you to go and pick something hard and work towards it every single day. And I would love to hear what you challenge yourselves to do, and I'd love to see people succeed. And I would absolutely love any cyclist to try and Everest the Rock and beat my time. It would be fantastic to see it beaten. I can't believe it's never been done before. I was very surprised it's never been done before. And Everesting has been done on the rock before, but Everest, the actual rock, has not been done. So yeah, I'd love to see it get beaten. Please, somebody go and do it. It's a journey. Thank you very much for watching.
Go on, keep going, lads.
Let's see that smile.
Done it.
Yeah.
Done. Get in, boy.
See that smile, yes.
Fucking get in.
Everest the Rock. Everest the Rock.